This one was better than number 2 within the first 15 minutes. The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, released in 2008, directed by Stephen Sommers. With a budget of 145 million, a domestic take of 102 million, an international take of 300 million, for a worldwide total of 403 million and a profit of a number I've forgotten, of 258 million, less all marketing and associated costs. That worldwide total is not bad for a movie that comes out in the same year as Iron Man, The Dark Knight, and Indiana Jones. Starring Brendan Fraser, Jet Li, it's Jack from NCIS, John Hannah, Michelle Yeoh, and Luke Ford. It's gonna be one of those evenings, I'm afraid. Characters, well, two of the characters are back. Well, four of the characters are back, just two different actors for two of those four. Ooh. Brendan Fraser and John Hannah as Jonathan and Rick, they're back reprising their characters, and they do actually quite a good job. Bored Rick at the start of the movie where he's retired and bored out of his brain, quite enjoyable. And this is some of the most fun I've had with Jonathan since the first movie, actually. He's got some great lines in this one, some very cool situational humor, some interesting reactions and interactions throughout the film as well. Bello is taking over the role as Evie, and you know what? She does a pretty good job. It's a little jarring to switch them out, but the way they introduce her in the movie is actually very well done. Quite clever. A little cheesy, but clever. Michelle and Luke, their characters are, well, you know, they're fun, they're okay. They're not as well developed and not as well done as the other ones, but they still do a pretty good job. I mean, Alex O'Connor, very clearly his parents' son, just in the attitude and the way that he goes about everything, as long as he's not trying to be romantic, then he's kind of average. And as for the ninja assassin protector, she's cool. I would have liked to see a lot more of her. She was a fun entry into this film. And then Jet Li, his character. Dude, he was criminally underused. It's Jet Li. He is not only an exceptional martial artist, but actually quite a good actor. I've seen him in a lot of other movies, and he's good at what he does. As a title card villain in this one, though, this is a misuse of pure star power. No one actually annoys you throughout the film. That's a lovely thing. No one annoys you throughout the film, and the good bits are great, and the not so good bits are still pretty okay anyway. So, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and give this one a 3 for characters, because compared to any other action film, they're pretty darn good. Story. Okay, story. Well, it's there. There is a story there. Not much of a story. Pointlessly convoluted story. Doesn't have as many unnecessary moving parts as number 2. Probably twice as complicated as number 1. They do get to show off a fair bit of China, which was kind of cool, you know. And they do introduce the main plot in a slightly more interesting manner this time. A little bit of espionage and double cross and kind of like political machinations in there. That's nice. That's a nice difference. As opposed to someone gets greedy and cracks open a thing. Book, sarcophagus, you know, the hidden ritual room, the usual thing. They don't do that this time. It's pretty much pure politics and a desire to reunify China. If they just kept it at that, I would have been really happy, I think. If they just kept their focus on post-World War II China wanting to reunify it, raising the Dragon Emperor to bring about his immortal army and reconquer China and then eventually the world. The usual take over the world routine, but they had to digress. They couldn't just leave that alone. They had to go run off to Shangri-La and have this largely convoluted immortality storyline going on in there as well. Now, if you'd gone back to the beginning, we've got this whole Chinese mythology going on, which was really neat. I was really interested in that movie. It's just when they got all extra complicated there. Kind of sucky. Kind of distracted and detracted from what was feeling like a pretty solid kickoff. Anyway, story. Look, story I'm going to go ahead and give a 2.75. It was sitting on a 3 at one stage, but it really did overcomplicate itself, detract from its own concise nature. I mean, this movie's kind of shorter than the last ones by about 20 minutes, maybe even half an hour. So it really didn't have a lot of room to maneuver, and yet they tried. So it did detract in that sense. Look and feel. Okay. So the one strength of the last two movies was the fact that it looked really good. This one comes out, looks very good. It really maintained quality of production from the last ones. I mean, Jonathan's nightclub looked fantastic. Shanghai looked fantastic. Ancient China looked good. In the museum, in the street, the clothing, the weapons, the back and forth. The CGI for once wasn't terrible. That actually looked pretty darn good. It's 2008 CGI. The bar's getting up there now, but it doesn't look that bad at all. It holds up pretty good, really. And they actually got a fair bit of CGI in the daytime to look good. They big step from 2001 to 2008. I can tell you that much. It is quite an improvement on things. Now let's talk about the Yetis. Okay, you know the Yetis are fake because they're Yetis. And the special effects that are blending them in the environment, like where they move along and kicks up sprays of snow or their interactions, not always seamless, again 2008, but the way they move and the way they look and their hair and their behavior and the camera shots and the way they're actually used on screen, really nice. I like that. I was really quite impressed with the way they presented the Yetis and the way that they used them. The dragon at the end, you know what? Not great. The dragon wasn't fantastic, but then again, they focused on it too long. There was too much close up on that dragon. It really, I mean, it's a dragon. You know, you got to work hard for a three-headed dragon to look real on screen. But, you know, it's still a three-headed dragon running around, so it's okay. So look and feel. You know what? I'm going to be giving this one a 3.5. They maintained the high quality of appearance as the other two movies, stepped it up quite a way, and they managed to hold it there for what? 85% of the movie. So I was impressed. I liked it. Script. Okay, look. Script was a coin toss. You know, 50-50 chance. Every scene is going to be good. It's going to be pants. Pretty much every scene, you didn't know what you were going to get. One scene with Brendan Fraser dropping quality lines and Bella reacting really nicely. The next scene, they're kind of mugging for the camera and it's kind of goofy. Or it'll be Alex O'Connor being a tough guy and making a bit of sense, or then him acting petulant or in love or something annoying like that. You really weren't sure it was going to land. Jet Li was consistent throughout the whole movie. He just kind of grunted out commands in Chinese and sounded gruff and, you know, looked like he was dialing it in. Must have been an easy payday for him, to be honest. He really didn't do much. Half the time the jokes worked, the other half they didn't work. They never bombed bad, they were never terrible, which is a good thing. And I'll admit that I laughed when the Yetis drop-kicked a Chinese soldier through a pair of upright beams and they reacted like it was a goal. That was kind of funny. And then you get some dynamic little scenes with all the characters playing off each other and having a bit of fun. This cab pulls up and all the characters, they're singed, they're burnt, they're bleeding, they're bashed up. They're actually smouldering. And then they have this back and forwards and it's fairly serious exposition and dialogue, which turns kind of crappy, to be honest. It gets very, very staged, but it's the way that they look. It was a neat little sequence. It's going to probably be my favorite sequence from the whole movie is the heroes looking bashed up in a bar. Anyhow, script. I'm going to be giving script a 2.75. That's actually feels a little high. Did enjoy a lot of scenes. I didn't enjoy a lot of scenes. There were some good lines. There are some okay lines. There were never any bad lines. Bad being a relative term to some of the movies I've watched. No, I'm going to leave it at 2.75 because I enjoyed it more than I didn't. So that's a good thing. Fun fact, okay, yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than the second one. That's not hard. You know, actually, as I said at the beginning, after the first 15 minutes, I was enjoying it more than the entire 2 hours of the last one. So yeah, I was having a good time. I was having a good time for most of the film. It just got a little dull every now and then too. Trying to quantify fun. That is one of the hardest things in this particular format, is quantifying fun. What is fun? What counts as fun? How does one define enjoyment itself? Hard to say. Okay, am I going to recommend it to other people? Maybe. Am I willing to watch it again soon? No. Did I hate it? No. Did I enjoy it more than number 2? Yes. So, running by those parameters, I'm going to go ahead and call this a 2.75. A very okay time. Final score, add them up, and it gets a 14.75. Just under what you'd call a good movie, which doesn't really feel fair to how much fun I had and how good it looked. But then again, that's in comparison to the second one. I'm going to leave it as is. You know, I've thought about it a lot. We'll just leave it there. So that's my review of The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. Has anyone else seen this one? You know, did anyone else make it this far in the Mummy series? Of course, the next step in this is to go and watch the Tom Cruise reboot of the Mummy series. I've heard bad things. My expectations aren't exactly high. But thanks for joining me. Hope you had a good time. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, I hope you're having a great week and that you get some time to watch a movie.